Hello my fellow readers. Today I'm going to be talking about Aria of the Beech Forest. Now you may remember that I talked about volume 1 already, but this is going to be my thoughts on the overall series because as I found out it ends with volume 3, so there's only 3 books in the series. So doing just a brief recap, the first volume focused on us meeting Aria. She is supposedly, we're not really sure, but a little witch living in the forest all alone. She used to live with her adopted grandmother who took her in as a child and has been raising her and teaching her the ways of being a witch. But the grandmother has passed away, and so where we pick up in the story, she's living all alone, and she one day finds a wolf just in the woods who can talk, and she is stunned by that, but not really. She's kind of chill. But anyway, she takes in the wolf comes to live with her, and along the way she also ends up meeting 2 little human children, and we also meet her catchy adoptive uncle, let's call him. And we're just introduced to these characters. It's very soft and cozy. I loved the first volume. Now we'll get into the other 2 volumes. And I'm not going to give like everything away that happens. I will just say it kind of rushes through pretty quickly. We do continue to see Aria's relationship build, especially with the 2 children. The catchy uncle still comes back into play. There's a couple of other characters that we meet, one of whom I'm also thinking, I don't think it ever said clearly, but I think may have actually been Aria's mother? Maybe? I don't know. But along the way we do develop those characters a little bit further. There is a bit of a time jump. The main part of what happens really is that this other witch character comes in and invites Aria to go away to study and learn how to be a witch, and then it's Aria deciding whether to stay in her more enclosed life in the forest, living with her friends, including the wolf friend and also the 2 kids, one of whom, the sister, is very enamored with her and does actually end up proposing to her. Whether or not that goes anywhere, who knows, because the big decision is just her deciding whether she is going away to the witches' college or whether she's going to stay in her little world. We do also get to see more about the wolf and his story and the fact that he's not always a wolf. So that actually comes into play. But again, it's pretty quick. I mean, it rushes through everything. I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest, because I think, and I don't know, maybe the publisher made it be so, maybe it wasn't selling as much as they had hoped, and maybe they made the author rush through the story, but I do think that it just ends up racing through these 2 volumes, and I don't think you actually, like, there's the whole bit about the little sister, like, proposing and everything, but I don't think you really fully get those character development parts. Like, I get that they are becoming friends, but it jumps very quickly to like, we're friends to, hey, marry me, and you don't know whether or not to take it seriously because you really haven't seen a development of any sort in their situation or their relationship. Like, there's just nothing. I mean, I think honestly there was more chemistry and character development. Not that I want them to be in a relationship, but I mean just the development of their relationship was more with her wolf than it was with the little sister. So it's just odd for me. Like, it just all races through this and you're like, I don't know what's real and what's not. And a quick spoiler, just because I want to talk about it. Aria does decide to leave and go to the witches' college, and that's essentially how it ends. But you do have this understanding that she'll come back once she's done and being fully trained as a witch. And it does turn out that Aria is a witch, because I know in the first one there is some debate about whether or not she actually is a witch, because she doesn't really do any spells, or some of the things that she mentions doing are just normal tasks and working, so you don't think that. And then it comes in where she does something, I think it's in the 2nd volume, where it is more actual magic, and then it leads on into the further thing. But it was not clear in volume 1 whether or not she actually was magic, or whether the grandmother had just adopted a human child and raised her in her like normal witch life. So I don't know. I don't know whether or not to recommend these. I mean, they're still, I really loved volume 1, and it still is kind of cozy and cute. Also becomes much more modern than I thought. Let me also just tackle that. That was weird too, because I feel like in this volume everything seemed like cozy and more old-fashioned. And I think even with the human kids that she makes friends with, like, you can't really place an age. I mean, their clothes are kind of generic and everything, but quickly, very quickly in these 2 volumes, it's very modern. Like, you start to see more of the world, and it is just like modern times. I think one of them has a cell phone too. 1 or 2 of them have like cell phones they're using. So it was very weird to go from this like small, enclosed, cozy life of her in the woods, and like you can see the little treehouse and everything and how cozy it was in here, to like a very modern, open world. And maybe that was intentional to have that whole impact there about, you know, there's so much more to the world that she doesn't know yet. And that's entirely possible, and if so, that's okay. I just felt so rushed through everything that I couldn't really appreciate her world opening up. But I mean, you know, I could very easily write a whole paper about how that did reflect how quickly her world was opened up, that she was so sequestered and small in her life with her grandmother, and now, you know, it's boom, a whole different world. Like, I could probably write a whole paper literally on that, but I don't know how much I loved that being the journey. Like, it was just so rushed that it was too much to take. I wish we had more slowed down, tender moments of characterization and character development and relationship development than what we got. I do understand. Again, it could have been a publishing thing. Like, maybe they didn't think it was selling enough. Maybe the author was just telling the story the way they wanted to. I don't know. So I don't want to like say anything bad. I just felt like it was rushed. Overall, I still liked the main character. I still like the main plot and storyline. I love stories about people, you know, having their horizons broadened, everything working out more that way, but slightly disappointing. And I still love the artwork. The artwork really is gorgeous. There's very cozy vibes here. This one with like the autumn Halloween theme is gorgeous. I don't know, I just wish we got smaller stories in there and fuller character development. Again, you know, I'm a huge fan of Witch Hat Atelier, which I think does the character development and relationship development and everything very, very well done. But they also, I don't know, maybe they're given more time because the story has done so well. Maybe they're given more time to actually develop all of those plots, whereas this maybe didn't. I don't know. I don't really want to guess, but I miss the world that was in here as opposed to here. So, I don't know. Maybe come for the art more than the story because it's still gorgeous. And the wolf character, which now I can't remember his name, is probably my favorite. Yeah, Gwyn, right? Anyway, I'm not going to get lost in staring at the back like almost every character. I liked it. I liked it. I think that's where I'm going to leave it, is that I liked it overall as a series. Not going to end up one of my top favorites. I would say just going over series in general. I was worried also that Call the Name of the Night, is that it? The one with the little girl who also gets taken in because she has that ability to bring on the night. That one actually ended up surprising me because that one was slumping for me and then just went way up for the end because that concluded in, I think, so it was either 5 volumes or 6 volumes it concluded, and that one had a great landing. Like it told the complete story. I thought it was really sweet how it was done. I loved that one. This one didn't stick as well for me. And I guess now, with this being complete, my next one that is a favorite after Witch Hat Atelier, and I mean, I've got a lot of other ones, but I would say especially like fantasy worlds like this, it would probably be Eden of Witches. That one is right now very close to being a good favorite fantasy one for me, and has like that similar storytelling and world development and character development that Witch Hat Atelier has. Anyway, give this a read if you want to. It's very quick. Like I said, you only get the 3 volumes. Not my favorite, but it also wasn't a terrible time, and it's got lovely artwork. That is it for this video. Until next time, bye.